Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao! I'm back. I had a very busy weekend. Oh my goodness. One of the biggest things that happened is my lovely husband got a job promotion, which I'm so proud of him. And I'd like to say that it seems like a very quintessential immigrant story. So those of you that don't know, my husband is from Florence. He moved here with me in 2013, knowing no English, told me repeatedly that he would start as a garbage man, like at the very bottom, and work his way up. And my love, amore mio, has done that. He is now going to be in charge of one of the high schools near my house outside of Chicago, and not like a principal. He's in maintenance, so he'll be dealing with the building operations, which I'm just so incredibly happy for him. And it's going to mean a lot for us just with everything with my business and traveling more, and it's amazing. I'm just very, very happy for him. So we had a very celebratory weekend, let's say. Then on Sunday, I was in an event with my chamber, the McHenry Chamber of Commerce, and it was at their Fiesta Days, their big celebration. It was like 2 weeks of celebrations they have by the lake. And so I was at this thing called the Beach Bash, and I had my own booth. So I got to talk about my Tuscan wine tastings that I can do at people's homes, and also about my Tuscany travel retreats. And it was great meeting people that were like, I'm so glad you exist. I never heard about you. Where have you been? Where are you located? I even talked to the vendor next door to me. I think they're called the Main Street Social, and perhaps I'll be able to do wine tastings there in McHenry. So yeah, I had a really productive networking weekend. And I thank Wags of Love, who was next door to me, Alana, who seems like she's been in business for a really long time. And she's a very new business. What she does is she's a dog wedding attendant. What is that, you might think? She watches your dog while you're getting married. Isn't that great? It's genius. So she was very helpful. I'm so grateful to people that I've met through the chamber that have been so willing to help, like Reese's Barkery in McHenry, this pet shop. The owner, Deidre, is part of my women's business group, and she is just so helpful. And so she invited me to this street fair this Saturday from 10 to 3, which is July 22nd. So if you're in and around McHenry County, you want to stop by, it's free. I'll be right outside of Reese's Barkery with my table. I'll have Italian flags and Italian wine. Not to drink, but just to show. But yeah, I'm just so excited. Things are starting to move for me. I feel a lot more confident talking about all my offers, like my consulting calls and my excursion planning. There's so many things that I'm offering right now. So if you're like, what does she do? And you're just starting to listen now. Feel free to email me at trulyitalytours@gmail.com. So, or check out my website, trulyitaly.tours. So that was my weekend. And I'm recording this on Monday, July 17th. And I'm planning on posting every Friday now. I've been doing it every Monday, and it just gives me a lot of anxiety because I'm like, oh, I gotta record. So I'm gonna record on Monday and post on Friday or Tuesday. I don't know. This is the life of an entrepreneur. You don't know. Like, there's no one holding me accountable. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to do it that way. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about today is something that I have been thinking about since talking more and more about my business with other people. And the theme that keeps coming up is connection. And I've talked about presence, but connection is a really big one. And the story that I told the ladies, Meredith and Cassandra at the Clopen Effect, I told them a story about how when I was like trying to live and be physically there in Florence and be permanently there, I was going about every which way to try to get somebody, just finding those people that I could connect with that would be of service to me and like help me, not like I needed a handout, but I always seemed to find the right people. From my friend Simone, who took me in 2008, I think it was, for a month. And then also from my friend Laura, who would take me to aperitivos, and we'd have wine nights, and like she'd take me to dinner, and all those people that like offered to pay for my rent. So the connection was huge, starting off when I first started living in Florence permanently, because the people that I came in contact with me for a reason. And it's because I was immersed in the culture. It was because I was reaching out to the right people. I was also really confident in where I was and what I wanted to do. So like I never wanted to hinder or like waver on like what my purpose was in that moment in time. So between 2009 and 2013, when I was permanently living there as a resident, I came in contact with just such amazing people. And this is what traveling does. Now, I was living abroad, but even before that, between 2002 and when I moved there in 2009, I was going back and forth from Italy. Those of you that have listened to the very beginning of this podcast, episode 1, 2, 3 through I think 6, I think I talked about my journey of going back and forth, thanks to my credit card, ching ching, that I relied on the kindness of these strangers. I relied on, that's how I met my best friend Manon. And like Manon is from Montpellier. She's French. She's the only French person that I met and I fell in love with. I haven't met any other French. There's a lot of French people that are amazing. But Manon, I met her by chance, by rooming. My friend Laura found this apartment that one of her colleagues was leaving, and I was like subletting it from her. And I moved in with these two French people, Jan, who I lost track of, and Manon. And it was amazing. And I found this amazing friend, and I got to be there with her when she brought her son Romeo back to Florence, when she lived there with us for about the same time I was living there. But those are the things that happen when you travel, when you really try to connect with the people and the culture and the people that are around you. And it doesn't have to be that, like, for example, I was living there to live there. Like I moved there to live there, and also I was trying on 3 months at a time. I would live in Florence, and then I come back home and stuff. But even if you're just traveling on your own, and like you and your husband, or you and your partner, you're traveling, and you want to connect with people. And these are the things that I want to like just bring to your attention. Like, be present with the people that are around you. When you are in a pub, when you are in a pizzeria, when you are in a restaurant, wherever you are, try to connect with the waiter. Try to connect with the people on the table next to you if they speak English, if you don't speak Italian. Try to connect with the panino shop down the street from your hotel. I don't know. Just try to find a way to find a common ground between you and your culture and theirs. If you know Italians like me, Italians love to talk about their culture. So even if you ask so many questions, they'd be willing to share the story of how they started their business or where the business came from or what was in the building before they had their panino shop, those types of things. Those are the things that you can really learn about and then move forward with the relationship. And who knows, like what I did with my friend Simone, I met him in 2002 and he became part of my life and he was in my wedding and I just kept coming back and I kept coming back and I kept reminding him, hey, remember I was there in 2002? Oh yeah. And fast forward to 2008 when he invited me to live with him for a month when I didn't have a place to live. And then vice versa in 2010 when he sold his house. He had nowhere to live until he had another place waiting for him. He lived with me for a month. So it was like a give and take. And there was that friendship that just started like right from the beginning. From knowing him at the Joshua Tree until not being at the Joshua Tree. And now he's one of my really, really close friends and really close friends with my husband Stefano, and he was thankful that I actually married and got together with a Florentine because he was sick of me dating the Calabrese and the Sicilians, and no offense, but he was happy. So being present. And another one that I take from Ted Lasso is be curious, not judgmental. So if you find something, if you order something and it's not, and you think it's something that it's not, ask them what is in it before you order it. First of all, most of waiters know how to speak English, and then be very confident in asking and saying, okay, you know what? I'm not interested in that. Can I try something else? But don't judge them. Don't judge the culture. Don't judge the fact that they put, I'm trying to think of what's strange for Americans, but I don't know. But if it's, for example, if you wanted to try brain, which is one of the delicacies that my husband loves, cow's brain, and you're like, what's cervello? Because that's what it said. Oh, it's brain. Oh, no, thank you. Or yes, I want to try it. So be curious about it. Maybe it's really good, and it is. It can be. I'm not a big fan, but my husband is. I've tasted it. It's good. Maybe you've never tried a mussel. Maybe you've never tried a clam. Be curious. Don't judge it. Try it. This past weekend when we took my husband's boss to dinner, he tried a mussel. He didn't it's delicious, but he was like, he didn't spit it out, that's for sure. So it's an acquired taste, some of these things that you try when you're in Italy. Be willing to put yourself out there, meaning if you don't know Italian, try to speak Italian. If you were using an app before you traveled abroad, try to use those phrases. Don't just bring out Google Translate right at the get-go. Give it a try. Really try to be vulnerable. Italians love when you try to speak their language. Even if they speak back to English with you, totally fine. Just at least you're trying. You're giving it a chance. And it shows these people that are around you, these Italians that are serving you, the Italians that are at the hotel, at the B&B, wherever you are, they like that because a lot of Americans don't try. A lot of travelers don't try at all to speak a different language. But even if you speak it horribly, you can imagine what I sounded like when I first moved abroad. Like it was not good. It takes time, but at least you put yourself out there, you become vulnerable, you learn how to communicate, and you learn how to just kind of let things slide off your shoulders, let things slide off your back. Who cares if you don't speak correctly? And I've said this before, but like I don't care that I sound American when I speak Italian. Like I'm not Florentine, even though I tell everybody I am. I wasn't born there. It's my heritage. It's where I will end up and where I belong. But I do not care that my accent sounds American. I do not care about that. So it's really important that you let that stuff go. Who cares what you sound like? The fact is that you're trying. And Italians love that. I said that a million times. They love it. And try to learn. Last thing, try to learn as much as you can about where you're going. Try to learn about the history. So when you go into the restaurant or when you go into the museum or when you go into wherever you're going, ask them about the history of the town. Ask them about why the Medici XYZ. I don't know. Ask them about why Leonardo da Vinci XYZ. I don't know. Whatever. Be curious. Be curious, not judgmental. And it will open your mind, and you'll see things completely differently when you come back home to your family. Because when you are trying to find that connection with somebody, something, a place, a church, the language, something, it really gives you this sense of self, the sense of worth, the sense of just presence. And when we're sitting there on our phones in the middle of the cobblestone streets in Florence, it's not the same. I miss the times where I had my phone to call people and my phone to text people, and it wasn't for going on Facebook and doing a reel or going on Facebook and doing a live or something. Put your phones down. You could take pictures with them. That's totally fine. But put them down when you're walking through those streets, because there's so much history that you have no idea. No idea. And if you want to know more about the history, keep listening to this podcast, because I have a lot of little tidbits that you can find on your own without going into a museum, because Florence, like Rome, is a museum outside that is free to go and see. If you want to come with me on one of my retreats, I have an amazing walking tour that I've planned to see all these amazing things that I love to explain to people, to guests, and to travelers that love to be immersed in the culture. So yeah, that is my episode for today. I just want you to really embrace culture and embrace your travels, and don't just check it off your list like a bucket list, because that is not what you're going to remember at the end of your life, a bucket list trip. You will remember walking through those streets of Florence, walking over the Ponte Vecchio, walking into that first restaurant, smelling the pizza or tasting that first glass of wine that you've never tasted before, looking down the River Arno, looking out from Piazzale Michelangelo, looking up to Fiesole in the hills. Those are the things that you want to remember. Not all the photos you took, not just checking it off and saying, oh, I saw the David. Oh, I saw Botticelli. That's not what it's like when you're on one of my retreats. You're going to remember things, because I'm going to remind you to remember these things. Because at the end of each day, we sit down, we have a delicious dinner by my mother-in-law, Fernanda, and we talk about our day. We talk about what was important, what made them emotional, what made them happy, what made them sad, or what filled up their bellies, and they loved having just that simple salad and it was delicious. Those are the things that we do. Allora, basta. Thank you for listening. Buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, wherever you are. And I'll see you on the next podcast. A presto. Ciao. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.